Have you ever heard about the civet, the animal that allegedly brews the world's most expensive coffee in its belly? It's a quirky tale, isn't it? Imagine these furry creatures moonlighting as skilled baristas, churning out gourmet coffee right in their tummies. They feast on ripe coffee cherries and voila, out come the beans, ready to be transformed into your morning cup of joe. It's an amusing thought, but here's the catch. No, civets are not running a secret underground cafe in the wild. So if the civets are not brewing coffee, what's the truth behind the world's most expensive coffee? Well, let's debunk a hilarious myth here. Contrary to popular belief, civets are not baristas in the wild brewing espressos inside their bodies. Imagine that, right? Here's the real deal, folks. What happens is that these civets, with their discerning palates, choose and eat the ripest coffee cherries. Then, nature takes its course. The civets digest the pulp, leaving the coffee beans intact, albeit slightly altered in their droppings. These beans are then collected, cleaned, and processed to produce the esteemed kopi luwak, or civet coffee. It's this unique process involving the civet's digestive system that develops the coffee's distinctive flavor profile. It's not about brewing, but more about digestion and fermentation. So next time you sip that pricey cup of joe, remember, no barista skills were involved, just a civet's discerning palate and robust digestive system. Ever looked at a civet and thought, that's a weird-looking cat? Well, it's a common case of mistaken identity. You see, despite their sleek bodies and cat-like agility, civets are not feline. In fact, they're more closely related to weasels and mongooses. Surprised? Don't worry, you're not alone. This misconception arises from their physical resemblance to our furry feline friends. They have elongated bodies, and yes, they move with a grace that could make a ballet dancer green with envy. But if you look closely, you'd notice their small, rounded ears, a stark contrast to a cat's pointed ones. Their teeth, too, are different from cats. They have fewer teeth, but what they lack in quantity, they make up for in sharpness. Civets also have perky tails, not fluffy like a cat's, but more like a mongoose's. And their paws? Well, they're adapted for climbing and catching prey, more like a weasel than a cat. So despite the catwalk, the civet is no feline, it's more of a weasel doing a cat impression. Some might say that civets are just pests, but is that the whole truth? Now let's debunk this myth. While it's true that civets have been known to raid our gardens and fruit trees, labeling them as mere nuisances is a gross oversimplification. In reality, civets are crucial players in maintaining the ecological balance. Their diet mainly consists of rodents, which helps to keep the rodent population in check. Imagine a world overrun by rats and mice. Not a pretty sight, right? But that's not all. Civets are also nature's little gardeners. As they feast on fruits, they swallow seeds that later pass through their system unharmed. These seeds, dispersed far and wide in their droppings, sprout into new plants, aiding in the propagation of various species of flora. So next time a civet scurries through your backyard, remember, they're not just party crashers, they're ecological superheroes in disguise. Sure, they might crash your backyard party uninvited, but calling them pests? That's a bit harsh. So we've debunked some myths about our misunderstood friend, the civet, but remember, there's always more than meets the eye. We've journeyed through the world of the civet, a creature often misunderstood and misjudged based on popular myths. We've laughed as we busted the myth about the coffee-brewing civet, revealing that it's not the civet, but the process involving the civet that gives us the unique kopi luwak coffee. We've also debunked the myth of the civet being a cat, when in fact they're more closely related to mongooses and hyenas. And let's not forget the myth about the civet being a pest. This couldn't be further from the truth, as the civet plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of our ecosystem. All these myths, all these misconceptions, serve as a reminder of how easy it is to misunderstand and misjudge wildlife, especially when we don't take the time to understand them. The civet, like many other creatures in the wild, has its unique place in the grand tapestry of life. It plays a role in our ecosystem that is as important and vital as any other creature. So, as we wrap up, let's remember the importance of understanding and respecting wildlife. They are not just fascinating creatures to marvel at, but integral contributors to the ecosystem that we all share. So the next time you hear about the coffee-brewing, cat-like pest of an animal, remember it's just a civet doing civet things in its civet way.